Bhrashtachari Bachao Andolan, that is how Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose to describe the political slugfest that one has been witnessing for the last 2 weeks in the national capital. And in perhaps one of his fiercest attacks in a long time, Prime Minister targeted the opposition, particularly Rahul Gandhi, without naming him, breaking his silence on the allegations that BJP is being politically vindictive by getting the Speaker's office to disqualify Rahul with some lightning speed. He, in fact, said that when these leaders find themselves at the receiving end, they start questioning the courts, raising fingers on its decisions, and these are the same people who have started running a campaign to malign the institutions of our country in what many are actually reading as an indirect reference to Rahul's statements that he made in London. Prime Minister said that there are anti-India elements within the country as well as outside who are trying to weaken our nation. But his words were actually the sharpest when he started speaking about corruption. And he said that he's seeing the coming together of all those steeped deep in corruption on one stage, making it clear that no amount of posturing from their side will save them from the clutches of law.
2 लोकसभा सीटों के साथ शुरू हुआ सफर 2019 में 303 सीटों तक पहुंच गया। आज कई राज्यों में हमें 50% से ज्यादा वोट मिलते हैं। आज उत्तर से दक्षिण तक, पश्चिम से पूरब तक भाजपा एकमात्र पैन इंडिया पार्टी है। ऐसे में देश के भीतर बैठी और देश के बाहर बैठी भारत विरोधी शक्तियों का एकजुट होना स्वाभाविक है। ये शक्तियां किसी भी तरह भारत से विकास का एक कालखंड छीन लेना चाहती है। आज भारत का सामर्थ्य अगर फिर बुलंदी की तरफ जा रहा है तो इसके पीछे हमारी एक मजबूत नींव है।
Well, today's attack is being led by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. He's speaking to the media right now. Let's listen in.
जो एक नया जोश है इस देश में, जो नया मिजाज है, उसको किस तरह से डिरेल करे, किस तरह से फिनिश करे, किस तरह से डिस्टर्ब करे। जो लोग आज अपनी बात को डेमोक्रेसी के अगेंस्ट प्रूव करना चाहते हैं, जो लोग आज करप्शन के आरोप लगा रहे हैं, उनको याद करना चाहिए किस तरह से यूपीए की सरकार में करप्शन का, भ्रष्टाचार का, इंस्टीट्यूशंस को कमजोर करने का बड़ा षड्यंत्र रचा गया था, इस देश को लूटा गया था। जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस की बात करते हैं वो बताएं कि जब देश के प्रधानमंत्री विदेश का दौरा कर रहे थे, उस दौरान एक ऑर्डिनेंस को ओपन प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में फाड़ने से क्या इंस्टीट्यूशंस बनते हैं? ये बहुत एकदम क्लियरली प्रूव करता है कि मिस्टर राहुल गांधी अपने आप को सारे इंस्टीट्यूशन से ऊपर समझते हैं। जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस की बात कर रहे थे वो ये बताएं कि जब संविधान के अनुसार सरकार को चलाने का, गवर्नेंस का एक मॉडल बना हुआ है, एक व्यवस्था बनी हुई है, तब क्या एक पैरेलल पीएमओ बनाना एनएसी के नाम पे, क्या वो इंस्टीट्यूशंस को प्रोटेक्शन की बात थी? तो साथियों, मैं आपके सामने ये रखना चाहता हूं कि मिस्टर राहुल गांधी अपने अहंकार के कारण डिस्क्वालीफाई हुए हैं। मिस्टर राहुल गांधी ओबीसी समाज को जो अपमानित किया उन्होंने, उसको कोर्ट ने कॉग्निजेंस लेके जो फैसला किया, मिस्टर राहुल गांधी सोचते हैं कि वो इन सब कोर्ट से, संविधान से, पार्लियामेंट से, इन सब से ऊपर है। धन्यवाद।
All right, that was Minister Ashwini Vaishnav saying that Rahul Gandhi got disqualified only because of his arrogance, and here is a man who thinks that he's above law. Now, reactions to Prime Minister's speech has already started coming in, with the Congress also expected to raise the pitch today, especially after the Parliament convenes at 11. Now, will there be an equally strong offensive being mounted by the opposition into what the Prime Minister has said? To discuss all of this, we have with us the spokesperson from Congress, Ms. Mahima Singh. Ms. Singh, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV, and a very good morning to you. Now, when the Prime Minister yesterday says that I'm seeing that what I'm witnessing is the coming together of all those who are steeped deep in corruption, who do you think he was referring to? Because your party is pretty much in the center of trying to get everybody together on one stage. Ms. Mahima Singh, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on your discussion this morning, Megha. I was going to say that I must begin with these ever so timeless lines. हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत लेकिन दिल के खुश रखने को गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा है. Because I was hearing the Prime Minister's speech yesterday, and he seems to have absolutely forgotten how Sardar Patel got rid of the RSS in 1948 after the killing of Mahatma Gandhi, and he said that it is important to root out the forces of hatred from this country, and he declared Sangh as an unlawful association. Now, what the Prime Minister was trying to do yesterday was validate the very forces, to validate the very organization, and saying that, we have not thrived or we have not survived because of the media forces or the media organization. Whereas the reality is that the BJP's survival today, I think, is attributed to the WhatsApp university that they have created, a false ecosystem, a foul ecosystem, I'd rather say. The vitriol that the BJP spreads, the venom spewing that the BJP does, and what they've done today to Rahul Gandhi is being watched by the world. He said, till a couple of days ago, the BJP used to mock and say that the opposition is not united. When today the opposition is united against the anarchist ways of the BJP, Prime Minister says that anti-democracy powers are coming together. So, you see, this is how the BJP's conduct is actually laughable, and their survival mechanism is what? The BJP's survival mechanism is allege, accuse, and arouse. And let me conclude this point by saying that, if it weren't for the Congress, Megha, the BJP would have never been, there. It would have never existed, because the Congress was the only force that fought against the colonial ways of the Britishers in India. And, it was Congress's determinate resolve to nurture a democratic ecosystem in India, which is why the ban on the RSS was not only later lifted, but the BJP was allowed to function. In fact, when they had just 2 MPs in the parliament, it was the Congress that ensured that the voice of the opposition was never silenced.
All right, stay on with us, Ms. Mahima Singh. We also have political analyst KKD Nambiar joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Nambiar, thank you so much for being here. Now, yesterday we saw a very, very angry Prime Minister, especially when he was, making all of these political charges, taking on the opposition. What do you think provoked him so much?
Good morning, Megha. I think the emotion what Prime Minister had shown is nothing less than the mood of the nation in a way. Most of the people, an average citizen of this country, is feeling that when in the last several decades we have been talking about corruption, and then we have never seen in the past that any strong action against the people who are corrupt. I mean, in fact, they have still thrived on both politically and financially in every possible way. I think here is a government which is very, very strongly acting against the people who are corrupt. And even then, they are coming together and making all those noises, except one thing, they will talk about everything else, that is corruption. They will not talk about the merit of each and every case, They will only talk about that, yes, BJP is a washing machine, or BJP is somebody who joins in BJP, they will all get clean, but which is actually an untruth. So the bottom line, yesterday's speech was, it was an emotional, but it was also very, very strongly worded attack on all those opposition parties. Also, one more thing which, if you really realize, he was also talking about the legacy of BJP, how BJP as a political force has come up in the last 70-75 years, from the Janasangh days to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and even the Janasangh moving away, paving the way during the emergency. And it was basically talking about addressing the BJP Karyakartas and to the nation, also attacking the opposition to beware that, yes, there is a leadership here in India which is absolutely zero tolerance and corruption. And if you have a challenge, if you have any problem with the any other people, he will not mind whatever way you will attack. I think what he said is like, na rukega, na takega.
Right.
That's the statement. I think it's a very emotional, and he is in many ways he has replied to all those people from the last 10 days who was making all the noises after the Rahul Gandhi's disqualification, and his infamous speech in the Cambridge and in the UK. So I think he has answered to all those doubts and questions, and also
it was,
in a way.
Yeah. Mr. Nambiar, it was indeed a response to all that has been going on, or all that has been spoken in the last 15 days or so. Ms. Mahima Singh, I want to bring that point to you because, yesterday the Prime Minister did not hold his punches at all. I mean, this was an all-out attack. Some, of course, are saying that this is going to instill fear in the opposition camp. How does the Congress decide to respond to this?
Megha, I would first respond to what the honored co-panelist was speaking about. Mr. Nambiar sounded like every party in this country except the BJP is a corrupt establishment, which I think is a very mockable idea. Because in this country, the BJP only came to the kind of power that it did in 2014. And before that, I mean, they only seem to look at the data after 2014. Do they forget that there were internet connections in place before that? Do they forget that there were road networks being built before that? There were hospitals, colleges, in fact, many more, much more than what it is today. Today, when they count the colleges, they count private colleges in. I mean, it is very laughable. So when you ask me about, you see, how it is, how it is coming out, how is the Congress looking at it, and what is our take on it? I would say, Megha, that a party that doesn't talk about public issues, where when they are sitting in power, the Prime Minister never holds a press conference. The Prime Minister never condemns a rape on a girl. The Prime Minister never talks about unemployment, the 10 lakh vacancies in the center. The Prime Minister doesn't open his mouth on China, rather gives a clean sheet to China. I think that is when the opposition is supposed to, create the spur that we are trying to, which they are trying to silence by controlling the establishments on all fronts. And I think, when the panelists inclining towards the BJP, like Mr. Nambiar, speak, and when they say that they're trying to paint the BJP in a certain manner, or we are calling the establishments wrongfully so, corrupt, I would say that it is evident, it is very visible to the world, to the people of this country, what the BJP is trying to do. I would reiterate the lines that I started with, Dil ke khush rakhne ko ghalib ye khayal bhi acha hai, because the public is suffering with inflation, the public is suffering the consequences of the unemployment. They are trying to take over the army, they are trying to control literally everything. Right. And now what it has come to is alleging accusation and now trying to arouse fear, instill fear in every Indian, arouse violence by the kind of venom spitting. The kinds of Mr. Anurag Thakur become ministers by giving statements like Goli Maro Salon ko. That's what the BJP is all about. And the Congress will not be deterred by the anarchist actions of the
All right,
BJP.
so the Congress is being wrongfully called a corrupt party by the Prime Minister. That's Mahima Singh of the Congress Party, as well as Mr. Nambiar. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. I'm handing it back to you, Vedant and Divya.